This video was made possible by my patrons. It's only $1 a month to follow me in that Patreon. If you guys want to help me out, I can finally quit my job and have a wonderful time. I'd appreciate it. If not, then just keep watching this video and bring in that ad revenue. Keep your ad blockers on though, because I don't support anything that requires you to watch ads. Let's get into the video. As you can probably already tell, this is going to be an exceptionally long video. There's not going to be many cuts. This is going to be my unprompted, unbiased, completely biased thoughts about a game that I grew up with that was horrible. I think Asura's Wrath is a conceptually great game. The theory and practice about Asura's Wrath is outstanding. When I first saw the initial trailer of Asura's Wrath, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was sometime in September when I first saw the Tokyo Game Show, or was it Gamescom, whichever one it was, where Asura was going against Wizen. And I saw that finger come down, and I knew immediately that I was gonna love this game. See, I'm a big Capcom shill. I grew up with God Hand. I grew up with Beautiful Joe. I grew up with Clover Studios making an amazing amount of beautiful games. Those are the games that I loved the most growing up. I loved them because they were underdogs. They were games that nobody liked. They were games that people hated. Truly, they were games that had cult followings later in life, but on their initial conception, were not praised or loved by many or all at all. It was something I had to deal with growing up, dealing with these games like Dragon's Dogma, Beautiful Joe. Even to some extent, Devil May Cry was just a wild haymaker in the grand scheme of everything. It was these games that Capcom made that I loved the most, that made me feel like Capcom was a game company that experimented more than anything. They felt as though they had to, and it felt like a team of creatives making games, and that made me passionate about playing their games because it was so amazing with things like Dino Crisis and Resident Evil. And when I saw Asura's Wrath, a completely new IP, it came through with horrifically lackluster reception. Not many people know of Asura's Wrath. If you're clicking even on this video, you probably have heard of Asura's Wrath, but probably don't even know what the main confines of it, or what the issue was with the entirety of the game. I think Asura's Wrath is one of the best games ever made. Consequentially, and completely contradictory to my entire statement, I think Asura's Wrath is one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life, but I play it again 100 times over. As a matter of fact, I have completed Asura's Wrath 42 times. I have no script for this video. I'm going to recount to you what makes Asura's Wrath so amazing to me and why I think it is the best, worst game I have ever played in my entire life. Let's start with the story of everything. Asura, one of the 8 guardian deities, one of the progenitors, a demigod with a mechanical body, showing the aspect of mechanisms and godhood put in one confines. This is never explained, because the best way to do a story is to never explain the magic. You will see stories like the Legend of Korra, where they had Avatar Wand, where they explained the magic, and that didn't go too well. People like Avatar Wand, but explaining the magic ruins things. With the midi-chlorians in Star Wars upon episodes 1 through 3, and even with Dragon Ball Super, if you're an anime fan, don't like Star Wars or Legend of Korra, Dragon Ball Z with the S cells and how the tingly feeling goes throughout the back. Explaining the magic is one of the worst things you can do. It destroys the mystery of everything. One of the reasons why One Piece is one of the greatest stories in terms of world building is that it actively and adamantly refuses to explain its magic. It looks at its magic as a system of moving the story forward, rather as a system that needs to be explained. It's an aspect to the world building that refuses to explain it. Some good examples of explaining the magic are Lord of the Rings. That is an amazing step in explaining the magic. Even Game of Thrones, when they explain their magic within the confines of the story, does an amazing job with that. And I've barely ever even touched Game of Thrones, and I know it has an amazing confines when it comes to explaining the magic and the mechanisms within it. Asura's Wrath does an amazing thing, because Asura's Wrath is a game of spectacle. It refuses to explain its magic, and that is the beauty of it. Asura starts off, we see him fighting the Goma, who are the evil in the entire world. They come from the earth. They are a part of the earth, but they are the evil, vitriolic thoughts of everybody. They are the incarnate of mankind's evil, and even some evil within the demigods, as we discover later in the game. And the main goal of the game, you're imagining, is to take care of the Goma. You think they're going to be the biggest issue, they're going to be the biggest threat, because the earth in itself needs the evil purged from it. a great rebirth of the earth, a great rebirth of Mother Gaia to respect and care for this earth. And we see this amazing, fantastical scene. Already power scalers are going nuts. Asura is standing in space and breathing in it, floating and flying, taking out a horde of enemies, not caring about anything. He's hot-headed. He's out here. He's going nuts. And we love to see Asura go to and fro, arguing with his progenitor brother-in-law, Yasha. We see him go into 6-arm mode, using his ability, using the beams from his hands. Very reminiscent of characters in Dragon Ball Z. Very reminiscent of many things in the Journey to the West, of how the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, does not listen to anyone around him. There are many things being pulled from many illusions in the game, and that's the beauty of Asura's Wrath. It feels like a love letter to power fantasy. It feels like a love letter to Rage, with things like the Incredible Hulk being mentioned, with things like Kid Buu and this insanity with the Berserker form being mentioned. There are so many small aspects in the game, but let's get back to the story of Asura's Wrath. We go deeper to and fro with the aspect of Asura. He did it. Everybody else is trying to get one-upped on Asura, trying to become what he is, trying to get close to him. They understand that his daughter, Mithra, is allowing all this energy, this chakra to go through, this mantra to go through their bodies. And people are thinking that, wow, she is the greatest source of power we can use. And Deus, he is plotting on Asura. We see him conniving, rubbing his fingers like a fly against the wall. You fool. You idiots. You think I'm going to listen to you? You think in any capacity I'm not going to steal your daughter? You idiots. I am R. Kelly. I'm going to take that little girl. It's nuts. It's chaotic. Yeah, I hate to see it. I know I said chaotic wrong. Don't question that. We're just going to keep going forward. Asura goes back down after winning a fight, after winning a battle, after winning a fracas, a war, a scuffle, a fisticuffs. He goes back to his wife. His wife, who loves him so deeply, despite the anger, despite the rage, despite the... Wait a second, that voice actor. That's Gaara. Oh my god, that's Gaara and the guy from Darksiders. I noticed this when I was listening to this. That is the guy from Darksiders and Gaara. I don't know the actual voice actor's name, but the rage he emphasizes when he speaks is so amazing. And I love it. It's so cathartic. It is godlike. I love it so much. Now then, continuing on the aspect of understanding Asura and his wrath, we see that he goes to meet the Emperor. He goes to talk to the Emperor, and the Emperor is slain. They need Mithra. They want to make sure they can use Mithra's power, keep her confined and sealed up so they can gain more power, so they can actually get rid of the Goma threat. But they know Asura's wrath is too much. They know that they can't deal with that. They need to take him away. They know that he'd never agree to have his daughter, his love, his confined, conditioned, and imprisoned away from him. So they plot against him to have the world turn against him so they can betray him. And this is where I begin to realize the story sucks. Oh my god, at this exact moment, I begin to realize that this story is complete spectacle. Firstly, Asura, completely juxtaposed to everything. You suck. You should have seen this coming all over. Why did you even have to explain yourself? The whole world was against you immediately. You didn't see a hint that they were jealous or wanted Mithra. You didn't see that in any small capacity. Nobody was talking to you or that blinded by your rage. Secondly, they didn't even try to hide the fact that, yeah, we're betraying you. Didn't even try to hide it. Not even a little bit. Could have added some more layers to it, some complexity. But the game isn't about a convoluted story. The game isn't about, diving deep into the mechanisms, the machinations, the mind of conniving evil. There's no Light Yagami's here. There's no Lelouch v. Britannia's. There's no Jonathan from Monster. There's no one. There's not a single character. There's no one. There's no Dio. There's nobody. There's no manipulative, conniving, scheming people in this. There's people with very Saturday morning cartoon level plots. And so Deus shocks Asura, hitting him, showing his eyes go back. And most people, for some reason, think that this is why Asura has white eyes. Wrong. Actually, you can see after he gets whited out and a little bit unconscious by Deus from the white lightning, he gets pushed back. He still has his pupils within his eyes. You can see that. Afterwards, we then see he gets pushed down to Naraka. Naraka is where the Golden Spider, who is the real antagonist of this thing, who is actually Chakravartin, that is the Golden Spider. The Golden Spider speaks to Asura and says, "Are you going to let your soul be taken? Are you going to let it go back to Mother Gaia? Are you going to climb and fight and tumble and toil? Are you going to oppose death in its capacities?" This is an allusion to God of War before it, where Kratos opposed death. This is also an allusion to the journey to the west, where not even death could make me die. Did you really think killing me would kill me? Insanity. That is not happening. This is an allusion to Sun Wukong, who became immortal 10 times over upon going to hell and writing his name out of the book of the dead, and then proceeding to become immortal a few times over, having the 72 techniques. And this is just an allusion to the journey to the west, in which we see that he is going against mythical and fantastical powers in a place that is heightened above him, and where which he was once a part of those same mythical powers. They feared the power of Asura, same way they feared Sun Wukong, same way they feared the power of Son Goku, the same way they feared the power of Kratos. It is a fear of power. It is a fear of rebellion. And what is rebellion incarnate? His mantra is wrath. That is Asura. Asura is in essence one of the greatest of all time. He comes rushing back, spending 12,000 years, 12 millennia, going back to and fro. What happened to his daughter? What happened to his wife? What happened to all of the people? What happened to all these people? These immortals, seeing 12,000 years as a passer glance, not even a great time frame, gather power, using his daughter as a great confines of gaining immense power, using this as a way to see how they can actually defeat the Goma. This is what makes Asura angry. This is what fuels his wrath. You made my daughter cry. You did this. That is what fuels Asura to spend 12,000 years rushing up to and fro, and he finally arrives back to encounter what everyone references whenever they talk about this game. As a matter of fact, I am so positive that people that know about Asura's wrath know very little about the core confines of the story, know where his wrath comes from, know even about anything, because this is the only thing referenced. The fight with Wyzen. Wyzen, one of the 7 deities now, says, Asura the betrayer, Asura the traitor, you who come back from the grave thinking they can come back knowing you are treacherous and you are blasphemous. You do not know the power we have amassed throughout the year. And then Asura punches him right in the face. Boom, because you can shut Wyzen up during this scene. You don't have to listen to his besmirchment. You don't have to do that. You don't have to listen to that. And then this amazing choreographed way, we see the power of Wyzen, the strength he's gathered. We see his new forms to and fro. We see him get larger and bigger, referencing how the Bodhisattva or Maitreya or even the bigger Somvagavi, the big dude, the Sudagama, he has a big belly. By the way, the big belly guy that you see all the time is not actually Buddha. That is probably someone else. I believe that may be Maitreya or something of that variety, but I won't get too deep into Buddhism and Hindu because I'm not going to do that. But I am going to talk about the big belly. That big belly, he fights Asura, and Asura gets angrier as he's losing the fight slightly, but the anger fuels him to the point where they go to and fro, neck and neck, back and back, blow for blow, fisticuffs, tussle for tussle, it's muscle for muscle. They're having a great fight. And then Wyzen begins to get the upper hand. Asura, did you really think after all these years, you've been gone for 12,000 years? You think we were sitting on our butts doing nothing? We have been trying to get rid of the Goma, the plague upon this earth, the plague to Mother Gaia. And you, in your hubris, think you can stop us because you don't want to progress. You can't make any sacrifices. And Asura gets up, filled with anger, filled with vitriol, filled with rage, filled with the power inside of his own self, relying on his own self, tosses Wyzen all the way to the sky, a burst. A coup de grace. And then, boom! Wyzen turns into a figure as big as the planet. This is reminiscent of Buddha, what he did to Sun Wukong upon putting his palm and the weight of the universe on top of Sun Wukong. And he crushes Asura. Asura crushed beneath the weight of a single finger. Begins to punch at the finger. We see him, ora, 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 against the sky. He goes against the heavens. He goes against everything. He does not care how big, how magnificent, how grandiose, how amazing you are. He does not care. He is here to save his daughter. He is not here for the spectacle. He is here for redemption, retribution. He is here for justice. He is the karmic justice that you have been doing for 12,000 years. He is the reverser, the karma. His soul will not be taken by the Saiyan deities. And with a single punch, as if an ant is going against you, imagine if an ant punched you and your entire body crumbled. Wyzen has been defeated. And in his weakened state with no arms, still filled with anger and rage, Yaksha appears, his brother-in-law, a betrayer to Asura, and kills him. And that's the end of Asura's wrath. I can see why people really care about the game and go in confines and respect it, but that's pretty much the end of Asura's wrath. Psych, 500 years pass. He goes right back to Naraka. The golden spider says, will you let your soul be taken by Gaia? Are you going to lose yet again? Asura, refound with a newfound vigor, climbs back up, goes back up the pillar, and proceeds to unleash himself from a stone casing to see a woman, a little girl who looks strikingly like Mithra. This is where we get to the fluff. There's no more spectacle truly after this. There's no bigger fights with the 7 deities. It is simply the little girl dies, and we get to see Asura go into what has been dubbed by the community and many people alike the Kid Buu form, the Berserker Asura. One of the many forms he takes. He is filled with blind rage. He is filled with anger. He is filled with the pure soul and torment of what has happened. He sees what would happen and how he would feel if someone like Mithra dies. He cannot handle it. He cannot truly grasp it. And in that great burst, all the deities are shocked. All the 12,500 years they spent gathering all this mantra, this chakra, this energy is worthless compared to the wrath of Asura, because he superseded all of the energy in one burst. All of the anger unleashing inside of him was simply his wrath. And this is important to me for many reasons. One of the reasons, thematically, it's important. It goes to show that even if you plan for something, an unexpected variable can probably destroy and dismantle the confines of your great scheme. It goes to show that even if you try your best to be evil, there is always some karmic retribution for your evil actions. It also goes to show that anger is not inherently bad. It goes to show that wrath is not inherently bad. It depends on what you do with that anger that makes it bad. That is the greater confines of what makes things psychotic and a bit vitriolic in that front. That is what it is. Asura's wrath is correctly justified. He has been taken to and fro, called a traitor by the people he trusted for millennia even, other demigods that respected him and loved him and wanted to be a part of him, all for the sake of getting his daughter. Picture this, if you will, my fellow compatriots in the room. If you, let's say for the sake of argument, were having a child, and your child had voluptuousness all around, milky chest testicles, a badonkadonk that extended far past the cosmos, and all of your friends that you've known for 40 years put you in prison just to get with your daughter. That is the level of wrath I want you to understand that Asura has going through his body. So can you understand why Asura's wrath is so insane and intense? In his berserker mode, his Kid Buu form, he proceeds to defeat, I believe his name is Crow. I do not know his name correctly. I'm not going to look it up. Crow, the little skinny guy. He's right here. Little skinny dude. After being the skinny guy, all these other gods, you're thinking there's going to be 7 boss fights, 7 deities. Nope. The 7 boss fights are not the 7 deities. As a matter of fact, after this, it's kind of like a rush to the end of the game. There's really only 4, 5 really intense boss fights after this kind of Wizen battle. That's pretty much what it was. That was pretty much it. Wizen, we fight Wizen. That was the big spectacle battle. After that, Asura goes pure berserker mode. He saves a bunch of humans. I didn't talk about the humans that much. They're really worthless. They are basically just relics of power to pray to gods, and they're used as cannon fodder throughout the entirety of the game. They're really unimportant. There's no greater story to them. They don't even speak a language we can really understand. I don't know why that is. That felt strange, that the humans don't speak a language we can understand, the audience. They didn't even give them subtitles. The humans have no subtitles. The gods, the demigods, the other people, they have subtitles. The principalities, the thrones. If you're in Christian mythos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They had words we could understand. They spoke in English or in Japanese, depending on where you're from. They spoke, but the humans get no dialogue throughout the entirety of the game. Anyways, back to Ashura's wrath. Yasha has a 180 because he sees that, well, Asura, if he can produce this much power, I guess I better be on his friend's side. I don't know why Yasha finally, after 12,500 years, decided, you know what? These guys are not nice. These guys are not nice. That seems a bit strange. It seems weird. Enough with the faults about the story. Enough with the thematic relevance. Now, Asura then proceeds, after going in his berserker form and truly encapsulating his true fury and rage, gets his arms back. He keeps getting his arms back, by the way. Later fights August. And I may have the story order out of order, but he fights August. I don't know why he's fighting August. I don't know. But this is another spectacle fight. People consider this one to be one of the greatest hand-to-hand, human-to-human battles of all time. The Wizen fight was more of a spectacle, gigantic boss battle. This was insane. It first starts off, him and August are chilling with some honeys in a hot tub. They chilling, Snoop Dogg style. Honeys in the room. They chilling. And then August proceeds to say, hey, how about we scrap? Asura says, I don't think I want to fight. It seems a bit unnecessary to battle. And then next scene, they're on the moon. They're immediately on the moon. Asura! And then the greatest song of all time. I'm probably going to get copyright striked if I ever play this song in any of the backgrounds of my videos. So it's called Symphony Number 9 in E minor, New World. It is the song that played in Luffy versus Crocodile in Alabasta. And it is the song that plays during Ashura's wrath when he fights August. It goes dun dun. And it is amazing. I can't do it justice by my vocal percussions in any capacity. I can't do the song justice. It is one of the greatest classical pieces of all times. It is this overture of grandioseness with the beginning part that shows the catharsis of the grand mysticism of the entirety of the track. It goes up to and fro, and then it reams out ever so slightly to go right back into a cataclysmic overstride of the entire musical tones. As you can probably tell, I don't know music that well. I'm just trying to encapsulate how amazing it made me feel, almost nostalgic in a sense, how crisp, how amazing, how just bewildered I was by the track placement. And they battle, and they fight. August realizes they're about even hand-to-hand, to and fro, 6 arms versus 2. August is saying, I guess I'll pull out my blade. Wailing Dark. A blade that will put Sephiroth to shame. He extends a power pole, and this is a reference to Sun Wukong. A power pole so long that it goes throughout the entirety of the earth. The earth is a playground for these people. Someone probably got stabbed on the other side of the earth when this went through, because nobody cares. Immersed himself deeply into the battle, and as the blade is going truly through Asura, and August is about to drop it down on Asura, Asura breaks the blade, puts a piece into his mouth, does a heel turn 80 degrees, right foot first, don't forget it. Shout out to SpongeBob, slices him across the stomach. It's beautiful. It is a crescendo of the beauty of Asura. Felt like a pointless fight though. August and Asura really didn't have that much of a beef. I really don't grasp why they fought. To this day, I don't understand why. After this, Asura is pretty much set stone center. Yasha is going against Deus. There's about 2 demigods left, essentially, and we fight Deus. Yasha goes to and fro, destroys the machines and everything, and we fight Deus. But Deus isn't the main threat. The main threat is the Goma, the big, gigantic Goma in the core of the earth, with Yasha and Asura defeat in this amazing anime-style battle. And up until the DLC got released, this was the end of Asura's wrath. If you were to get a base copy, a PS3 or Xbox 360 copy, you would only be able to play up until this point. This is where the issues arrive. And I'll talk about the issues as I talk about the combat. I have been talking about the spectacle, the amazement, the beauty of the story, but the combat is disgustingly lackluster. You are fighting in a very beat-em-up style game in which you build up a bar until you reach your burst. When you reach your burst, you click R2 or you click R trigger, whatever it is on the respective console, the back upright button on the controller, and you unleash this burst. This activates the cinematic flare. You are playing through basically a QTE anime. This is what the game has the biggest problem with. So this game is made by CyberConnect 2. CyberConnect 2 is responsible for the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, and the Ultimate Ninja Storm games have some of the best cinematics in all time. Their specials, their Ultimate Jutsus are a cinematic flair. We see with Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, it evolved. They actually added that more to the story fights, and it gave us the greatest Sakura fight in all time against Sasori, and it was outstanding. We can see that in Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 took it to the next stage. We can see this with Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, which took it to a stage above that. And it just went higher and higher and higher. If you see CyberConnect 2 onto a game, you can pretty much attest that the cinematics are going to be great. We can see this with Kimetsu no Yaiba when we see the Demon Slayer games have amazing cutscenes. However, with Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3, Kimetsu no Yaiba Hinokami Chronicles, we see these games, they have great gameplay. The gameplay, while it is an arena fighter, it's very tight, compact. It is a visual noise when you see on screen with the team battles and all this visual flair. However, very few frame drops. Shows consistency and niceness. It shows that they actually know how to use the polygons and know how to make the cinematic art flair work, and that's great. Asura's Wrath, however, has no gameplay. This game sucks. I love this game so much. It is garbage. It is complete trash in terms of the moment-to-moment gameplay. I am fighting to get to the cutscene. That is what I'm doing. It's like I'm forced to play a movie that I have to interact with. It's like if you've ever seen Black Mirror Bandersnatch on Netflix. If I could give an example, if you never heard of Bandersnatch, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what it is. A while back, Netflix had a show called Black Mirror, which once was one of the greatest series of all time. Black Mirror was a black mirror into what the world would look like if we let technology take over us. It was a bunch of different situations and scenarios in which they showed the greater destruction of technology and how scary technology could be, which is great because we're talking about Asura's Wrath and they're all half God, half technology. So Black Mirror did this with Bandersnatch, in which you yourself, the audience, could interact with the thing during the Netflix thing. It was really innovative, and it was probably shot a bunch of multiple times. It was really good, and you can get the true ending throughout watching the movie. That's what Asura's Wrath is. Asura's Wrath is not a game. It is an experience. It is something that you have a remote for that you're being forced to play to get to a cutscene. You can get every experience of Asura's Wrath just by playing a movie on YouTube, is what I would say until the DLC came out. So let's talk about the combat right quick. What is the combat? You would think it's something along the lines of God of War or maybe Devil May Cry, considering it's the spectacle flair of Capcom. It is punch, 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 no real combos. There's no upgrade trees at all. There's none. There's not a single upgrade tree in the entire game. There's no leveling up mechanic. It is you punching and fighting, learning how to press square and triangle or X and Y, depending if you're on Xbox, and then getting to that R2 burst. And when you get to the R2 burst, it is nothing but QTEs. Sometimes you'll have bullet hell segments where you shoot bullets, but that is to show that you're actually playing a game. Other than that, you are pretty much stuck in this repetitive nature flair of forcibly just doing this or punching the entire game. It is garbage. I cannot overstate, I cannot understate, I cannot state in any universe where I have enjoyed the gameplay of Asura's Wrath. I only play it to get to the cutscenes. That is it. Nothing else. The gameplay is a far cry from a company that released games like Devil May Cry 3, from a company that released Beautiful Joe, in which I did a no-hit playthrough just to test myself because the gameplay is so tight and fun in that game. In a game where I played Resident Evil gameplay is beautiful. I love it so deeply. Dino Crisis, even Exo Primal, the game that completely failed, was fun. I loved all these games by Capcom, and they've been making great games. Marvel vs. Capcom, they know how to make a fighter. They know how to make a game that feels tight and cohesive. They know how to make beat-em-ups. This is the same company that made Street Fighter, dude. And you're telling me they can't make a good beat-em-up or hack-and-slash arena fight style game? That's disrespectful. This game would have been a great movie, but that's not the reason why Asura's Wrath is the best, worst game. The story doesn't make any sense. The gameplay is lackluster, but I'm not here to care about if the story makes sense. I'm not here to play a game that's good. I'm not here to play a game that feels tight and cohesive. I'm really not. Asura's Wrath is a Hot Pocket. It is a Hot Pocket that has been left out in the sun for 2 days, but it has been heated by the sun, so you're getting good vitamin D. It has been heated by Helios in the sky. That is Asura's Wrath. It is you not eating for 2 days, starved of something you didn't even know you craved. That is Asura's Wrath. That is the gameplay of Asura's Wrath. Because you're playing this game avoiding it, and it's not difficult. The game's not hard. The game is disgustingly easy. It might be the most easy game I've ever played. I have never had an easier time playing a game that's supposed to have stakes ever in my life. The only thing I have a difficulty with sometimes is maybe I'll mess up one QTE section. One, because I'm so invested in the mysticism, the majesty of what I'm witnessing. Whoa, Asura's doing that? Yeah. And by the way, you failed the QTE. Oh, well, I'm still watching this. It's a movie where you have to pay attention. This isn't Family Guy. No, this isn't Family Guy. This isn't the Family Guy where you can just, no, well, I guess I'll just do that. Nope. Not at all. This is a difference. This is something where you have to invest your soul into. And that's amazing. Back to looping to the story. Let's talk about the DLC. So it ended with Deus getting dethroned. And it ended with Asura still angry, still whites in his eyes, saving Mithra. Until the Golden Spider ending. This should not have been DLC. I believe this is one time when they were testing more DLC and seeing what it was. I paid, I believe, $20 on the Microsoft Store in Microsoft points back then when they had Microsoft points to get this DLC. I just got done playing a game called Ascend Hand of Cool, and I was playing Rumble Fighter, and I had just learned that Metal Assault, which is one of the games that I love deeply, it's a PC browser game, was shutting down, and I was distraught and heartbroken. Until I discovered the DLC for Asura's Wrath got released, the true ending. This was, I believe, before or after the Street Fighter collaboration that they did with Akuma and Ryu from Street Fighter. So, it is the Golden Spider, who is actually Sakura Vartan, who is the progenitor of all mantra. And we see Sakura Vartan. It is Buddha, is a fleshy mess. It's disgusting to look at when you see the stretchy arms of this amalgamation. It is a truly androgynous being, and something about them is so off-putting and disgusting, and their power is so powerful that you think that you can't oppose it. Asura, even with his greatest wrath upon getting Mithra stolen again, cannot understand what is going on. Be my follower, be my prophet, Sakura Vartan asks. And Asura says, no, I will not play by your games. I will not play by your rules. And Asura is cast down as if Lucifer before him put down to the greatness of the earth, scorching like a blazing fiery rod down to the earth. And Asura is pissed, as he is the entire game. Yasha gives his life for no apparent reason. Yasha just gives his life. They fight each other for no reason, and Yasha just dies. I have no reason why this happened. No clue. They did not need to do that. Asura needs all the friends he can get at this point. Asura, in a true, powerful, bigger arm state, rushes Sakura Vartan. Sakura Vartan tries his best, or her best, whatever, their best. That might be non-binary. They're very androgynous. Tries their best to stop Asura. And we have this amazing, beautiful, powerful sequence. Not a battle, because the gameplay sucks, but the story and cinematics are out of this world. It is something that you have to have been there to witness, or you can go to YouTube and look up 4K 60 FPS gameplay of it. It's really the same experience. It is an emotional turmoil. And as Asura finally goes against this, the Sakura Vartan goes into the void, an event horizon, one might say. A world of nothingness, a complete blank canvas, nothing is there. And Asura sits there in this blankness, and there's something truly mystic about the way this operates. There's something truly cathartic about the pure whiteness, the background of nothingness throughout the confines of what this is. There's something deep. There's something new about this. Everywhere else, we have watched the destruction of the Earth. We have watched space mysticism. We watched galaxies and Earths get destroyed and blown up ever since the beginning stage of this game. But to see a true nothingness, a void, no Naraka. This is blank, a canvas, the beginning of everything, the progenitor realm of nothing, a painting canvas where you can paint any universe you want to. You are an egg about to be hatched, and you get to witness something that you feel like you're not supposed to see, something you're not supposed to be a part of. This feels alien to you, but at the same time warm and comforting, a pure sense of nostalgia and alienating you as a person. And this is what makes Asura's Wrath so amazing. The art direction behind this was a stroke of absolute genius. The surrealness of nothingness confining over you as you see Chakravartin ask you, are you sure that you don't want to be my prophet, my disciple? Ashura, filled with anger and turmoil, wanting nothing but his daughter back, rejects the progenitor god. And Chakravartin goes into the true state. We see a gray, black, skeletal figure, the true form of what the Chakravartin is. Nothingness, a void, not evil, not good, chaotic neutral, wanting to push their own agenda. The true creator of all chakra, the true creator of all mantra. We see this. The very thing that Asura is made of, he wishes to destroy. To annihilate the very air you breathe. To destroy the very water you swim in if you are a fish. To destroy the very gravity that holds you down to this planet. To annihilate the laws of nature. Fighting a tornado, you, as a mere monkey, decide to go against everything. And through will and perseverance, in battle and turmoil, Asura prevails. And the reason this is so amazing to me, the reason why this sequence is so great, is not the battle that ensues when it comes to the gameplay to gameplay, moment to moment gameplay. I care nothing for that. That is worthless. That means nothing to me. What matters the most to me is there is a specific sequence in this entire fight where QTEs pop up for Chakravartin. QTEs pop up for Chakravartin. And they have to input them against you. You are a threat. You are a boss. And this is the most creative use of QTEs in a game that is primarily QTEs that I have ever seen in my life, to give the CPU the ability to fight back against us. And it isn't this big, giant brawl where they're tossing planets and using universes as shurikens, Gurren Lagann style. No, 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 no. It is not that. That's done. We're done with that. What we have is two guys in the middle of an alley with no audience fighting. Just fist to fist, nuts to butts, going haymaker Mary, going nuts against each other. Just two dudes being bros, attacking, antagonizing each other. And Chakravartin loses. He says, do you think you can really beat me? If you destroy me, you will be destroyed. And Ashura says, I do not care. You made my daughter cry. And with a final fist, with all the rage, the final R2 burst in the entire game, we see Ashura clear his mandible, annihilate his jaw, a force destroying the very confines of what made Ashura. And throughout the entire game, we've seen Asura, the wide eyes, filled with rage, blind with rage, no pupils. Finally, the rage has subsided. His mantra is gone. His mantra is wrath. The very source of his anger, the very source of his power is gone. He is nothing now. Mithra, live a good life. Be well, eat well, sleep well, fight well, play well. I love you. I'm sorry that I cannot be the father that you wanted me to be. And this is a love letter to the game. This is a love letter to you, Ashura. You were a great father. You were amazing. You fought against gods. You fought against the creator himself. You fought against planets. You fought against universes. And I'm so proud of you. Despite the fact that you may not exist in my dimension, despite the fact that you may not exist in any dimension that may come to my light, despite the fact that you may not even be real, I felt something. I felt power. I cried at a game that had a stupid plot, at a game that had a horrible gameplay. I shed tears. I shed real tears because of the spectacle of what I had witnessed. Because it didn't matter if the gameplay sucked. It didn't matter if the story was hot piss. And I truly do mean hot piss. It was the themes behind what made me feel behind this story. 870 million years later, they all get reincarnated, and Asura is living peacefully, and it is nice as the cycle of reincarnation goes. But the themes behind this, what are they? What was the point of all this? What was the point of this story? To show the betrayer, to show that you have to be angry, to show this? What are the themes of Asura's wrath? An angry father can defy the gods. To be a true parent is to be mad. The theme is rage. In your life, I'm sure that you've encountered many a moment where you've been pissed, where you've been told that anger is a secondary emotion. My wife told me that in True and Fro, and I use that over and over again because it's true. Anger is a secondary emotion. The first thing you have is fear. There's a fear. Why is Asura angry? He's scared. He doesn't know. He only knows to be angry because he doesn't know what's happening to Mithra. After that, it is anger. When you get into an almost car crash and you see a driver, what is that? Road rage. The reason you're angry is fear. When you lose your car keys, it is fear that you may not be able to drive again. When someone hits you and you get angry, it is fear first. Because what if that hit actually damaged you? What if that hit made you not be able to go to work tomorrow? What if that hit messed up your teeth or messed up part of your body? Your body reacts immediately with fear, and then comes anger. Then comes the rage. It is fear of the unknown that makes us angry of the unknown. I don't know. It scares me. I don't know. The theme of Asura's wrath, the entirety of what Asura's wrath is a story of fear, of not knowing. 12,500 years passed throughout the entirety of it, and Asura didn't know. All that time festering, boiling, they were torturing his daughter. What they do, he could only guess about what was happening to his beloved Mithra. He had no idea. Asura, the defector, Asura, the betrayer, Asura, the destroyer, is what he was. But he was also Asura the father, Asura the protector, Asura the hated, Asura wanting to understand. We need to understand Asura's wrath truly, and what I've watched, I've seen many people break down this game over and over again, and they never touch on the aspect of why the rage is so important, of why it's so good that he's angry. What he's doing with this rage is good. Yes, you could say it's violence, but violence with a purpose is good. Did you know that? For instance, I'm angry. I want to hit something. Well, I can go to the gym. I can work out. Then that anger is directed towards something good. There's an evil person who is purely evil, and I don't mean subjectively evil. I mean every action they do is objectively unjust to everything around them. It is manipulative, it is destructive, and it is only good for that singular person. It is all for one, not one for all. It is evil. It is destructive. It is evil without purpose. All for the benefit of a great rebirth that was never going to happen, and Asura stopped that. And this is why this game is so beautiful. Because it's stupid. This game is so dumb that it somehow is amazing. I do not know what caused me to get so invested in this. Maybe it was the fact that I knew this game was going to sell poorly. Maybe it's the fact that I wanted this game to succeed because it's Capcom. And I loved Capcom. I've seen so many failed products. God Hand, which is an amazingly beautiful game that has horrible, horrible camera mechanics. Monster Hunter, when I first played it on PS2, I hated the game, but I still beat it. I even played online and made a best friend named Jean Creston, playing it on PS2 LAN system and fighting the Fatalists. Beautiful Joe, which I played Beautiful Joe 1, 2, and Red Hot Rumble, the party game, and watched the weird little series they had. I watched all of it. I enjoyed every piece and aspect of it. The Miss, Bloody, Rachel, all of it. Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, all these games, all these things. I am so shocked that Capcom is still a successful company, despite everything they keep trying to do. They keep trying everything. They allow creatives to exist, and this game felt like a love letter to Hinduism, to Buddhism, to India, to Rage, to anime, to the journey to the West, to Dragon Ball Z, to mysticism, to spectacle. It felt like a love letter to me. I have watched so many breakdowns of this. It got me so deeper into the understanding of the deities behind them. It got me into understanding who these characters are, what are their motivations. I read a light novel series about it. I've read fan fictions about Asura, about everything. I've witnessed so much. I've gone to and fro. I've dwelled deep into the confines of each little monochrome of this story to finally tell you, this game sucks. This is the worst thing I've played, but the greatest thing I've experienced. And I'm saying it over and over again, and I want you to understand that nothing will make me truly hate this game. Because there are many instances in which I witness something that sucks on all fronts. There are many instances which I'll play a game, and I know that no one's gonna like it. There are many instances when I'll watch a movie, and know this movie is gonna suck for everyone. On a very realistic note, we've done it before. The Room sucks. Tommy Wiseau was hilarious though, so we enjoyed it. The new Crow movie sucks. Not gonna lie to anybody's horror movie. I watch it for fun though, it's really great. Morbius. Horrible. Horrible movie. Horrible. Not even good on any front. Can't even say anything good about Morbius. But it was fun to meme on. This game is that but more. Because I can't write this off as something that has no heart. I can't write this off as something that is nothing. I have to actively take a moment and appreciate what this game is and what it has done for me as a person. There is another game in which I'll make another video about. It's called Dragon's Dogma. And I love Dragon's Dogma. It might be one of my favorite things of all time. I love it so much. It might be my most loved game I've ever witnessed. But man, does the story suck. The gameplay is great though. It's so strange. It's as if you have a great concept and an idea, but fail on all fronts. And this game sold so poorly. I'm not even sure if it broke 1 million or 2 million copies sold. I don't know. I know it was such a poor number that Capcom wouldn't even consider making a remake or remaster of this game. It wouldn't even... This is a faint puff. This is a death threat from a pacifist. It is nothing. Truly nothing. It is conceptually amazing, executed wise in theory, all of it garbage. It is nothing. And I wanted more of this, but I never will get more. I will stand at the edge of greatness, hoping to reach exceptional, only to fall short of the mysticism of what this once was. And it's sad because this failed, it may never be attempted again. I want people to make risk. I want people to take a chance on this lifetime to make something that may be horrible, that may be garbage, and still have a devout following behind it. This is what cult following means when they say bring something back. There's another game I love so much, Onimusha, and throughout everything, despite a horribly failed party game called Onimusha Blade Warriors, Onimusha 1 Warlords was as if Resident Evil met feudal Japan, and it was beautiful. The camera angles were garbage and I loved it. Onimusha 2 had better camera work, but it still was goofy and it didn't do that great. Onimusha 3 made no sense. Time travel shenanigans, all complete garbage. And Onimusha 4 was a cap off to a series that should have had a better send off, and I still want more from it. But they took a risk. They took a risk and it didn't pay off. And they keep doing it. Capcom will keep doing it. Little known fact about Monster Hunter. It was only big in Japan. Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter DOS, Monster Hunter Frontier, Monster Hunter Freedom, Monster Hunter Freedom 2, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite Monster Hunter Tri, Monster Hunter 3, Monster Hunter Portable Third to be specific. All these games that I'm listing were only ever truly big in Japan besides Freedom Unite, which had a little bit of an upsurge, and we were so lucky to get Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. And you know what's crazy about me about Monster Hunter? I never enjoyed Monster Hunter, but I played all the games and beaten them to G rank or Master rank, but I've never enjoyed them. Ever. I like Rise, and I'm beginning to have a newfound appreciation for World because I have a better group of people around me that can make me deeper appreciate. To be fair, I was using the wrong weapon the entire time. I'm not gonna lie to you. But they took a risk. And now Monster Hunter World is what Capcom is basically known for. They're able to make creative endeavors because Monster Hunter World has such crazy success. We can see that with Monster Hunter Wilds now coming out, and people are overly excited about this amazing game that shook the foundation of what Capcom stood for. Capcom can keep making crazy endeavors because they keep trying and they put creatives first. And Asura's Wrath was a step in the right direction. Sure, it was a right foot first, don't forget it, bringing around town, blowing a bubble that made Squidward's house go into the stratosphere and crash on down, and now everybody's wondering why he even got that angry. But the anger that Squidward had in that scene, when he did that, the anger that he had, well, that was amazing. It showed everyone around him, Patrick and SpongeBob, that he had it in him. Yes, it was anger upon following the right flow, but it showed what he had in him. That is Asura's Wrath. It is so good and so garbage at the same exact time. And I want you to understand that this video is a passion project. I'm able to make videos like this because of my patrons. And yes, I'm going to plug my Patreon right here if you've made it this far. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. It's only $1 a month, and if I can get 30,000 of you guys to give me $1 a month, that'd be kind of cool. I'd appreciate it. I'm probably not going to be able to, but that's okay. I just want to gush about one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm going to leave you off on this story, and this might take a little bit of a minute, and it might get a little bit sad, so just get ready for it. When I was younger, my dad would only connect with me when I played video games with him. I stole his PSP to play God of War Ghost of Sparta. I took his PSP to play Monster Hunter Freedom, which I didn't enjoy. And he said, I'll get you a PSP and we can play games together. We played the Nintendo Wii. And on the Nintendo Wii, there was this game called Shingoku Basara. It was called Samurai Heroes. And we played together and it was beautiful. And we never bonded besides games like iToy and other things. We just were cohesive in the way that we bonded with one another and each other to and fro. And I love that about our relationship. And Devil May Cry in Monster Hunter and Asura's Wrath, we always somehow bonded deeper over Capcom games. And so one day, I'm playing Asura's Wrath, and he sits there. He calls off work, and it's a Saturday, because he worked on Saturdays. He worked at Jeep. And he watched me play the entirety of Asura's Wrath. All of it. He watched me, from start to finish, play Asura's Wrath. And he was so happy watching it. He said it was like an interactive anime. And that was one of the most amazing bonding experiences I've had with my dad. We had other bonding experiences, like we went hunting together. And we've enjoyed a cup of coffee in our later less formative years, upon me being in my 20s and him being much older in his 60 years of age. But it felt nice to have that relationship with my father, because I didn't get to have that in regular day-to-day things. I didn't talk about sports or football, and was never into basketball. And for the most part of my younger years, I was a Crip, so I did a lot of gangbanging stuff, so I wasn't really in the house a lot. But when I was in the house, it was video games that brought us together. It was these very childish things. My dad had a very childlike nature to him. The way he thought was very childish. He was filled with this unbridled rage all the time about things that he had no control over, and he wanted to have control through his anger. And upon watching Asura, I feel like watching somebody have control of a situation over their anger upon being put down and beaten down, and using their rage to make a name for themselves in this world, made him feel amazing. I think that is amazing to me. It made me feel different. I knew this game was going to be something special. I knew this game was going to make me feel something from the very first instance I saw that finger drop down and crash through the stratosphere. I knew that it was going to mean something. I felt the inspiration from the Journey to the West. I felt the Bodhisattva. I felt the powerful mysticism. I felt the catharticism. I felt the religious aspects. I felt everything in this game. And if you've never seen this game, if you've accidentally clicked on this video because you thought it was interesting to talk about something like this, if you for a moment just thought, wow, I just wanted to see what that crazy haired guy is talking about, well, I hope that you spend 5 hours out of your day to just watch a full movie compilation of Asura's Wrath, that you spend a moment out of your day to just enjoy this game with me. Now then, let us summarize the entirety of what we learned. Anger is good. It is okay to feel angry. It is fine. You don't have to hide your anger. It is okay. It's what you do with that anger that makes it bad. It is what you do with the anger that is residing inside of your soul that makes it an issue. When you have anger inside of your soul, the unknown, that fear, it is a secondary emotion. Don't rely on that anger to actually be what you are. That is a horrifying way to live. It is a horrifying way to exist. And I don't wish that upon anybody. So please, I beg of you, to experience your anger in a healthy way. There are healthier ways to deal with your anger: working out, going for a jog, maybe even directing it towards a novel or writing something down. You must have a good outlet for your anger. It is not always supposed to be violent. It is supposed to be a way to feel, because all your emotions are valid. It is what you do with those emotions that make you feel bad and make things happen out of that. If you're happy and decide to punch a wall with that happiness, you have now messed up your wall, and that is bad. If you are angry and decide to make a cake out of that anger and it's filled with rage, well, guess what? You've done something constructive. It is depending on what we do with each emotion that dictates how we operate. Asura's Wrath is never going to come back. It is the best, worst game of all time. It will never get remade. It will never get remastered. It was a financial flop. And even now, in its status as a cult classic, a game that probably deserved more than what it was bargained for, it is still viewed as one of the games that is a definite financial flop, and I don't see it coming back in any time. Maybe there'll be some fun cameos throughout the entirety of what Capcom may do with Asura's Wrath, but I don't see any future for this game at all. Same with Onimusha or God Hand or Beautiful Joe or even Okami, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure there's an Okami remaster for the PS3. I don't see anything more going into this because this game is nothing but spectacle. If you are looking to watch something and turn off your brain for a little bit, like Dragon Ball Z, or something along the lines of where you just want to see a bunch of punch fighty macho man guyness seeing the rage of something, then this show or this movie, or more so this game, is simply for you. This is Gurren Lagann meets Journey to the West, and it is amazing and it is cathartic, and I hope that you have learned something throughout the entirety of this video about yourself or about me and about the things that I enjoy and value. This is my Roman Empire. This is my joy. This is what I enjoy talking about. This is what I am. If you're looking for some cohesion to this video, I did this completely unscripted. I am simply talking. There were a few cuts because I had to go do things like eat and use the bathroom, but there is no scripts and no heavy editing in the entirety of this video. It's just me and you in this room, and I'm so happy that you got to experience us together as a unit, as a confines in this room. It makes me so happy that you get to enjoy and experience what I am, and I'm so happy that I get to enjoy and experience hopefully a comment from you, hopefully something like that. That would be amazing. If I don't get to experience that, that is also fine. That is also so fine. You can just simply, and I truly do mean this, you can just simply click off the video at any time. Watch this in your free time. This video may blow up in a future timeline. This video may blow up in a future way. I don't care. I have been wanting to talk about Asura's Wrath for so long, and I am finally in a mental and physical well-being state to do so, and I feel great that I get to talk about something that has been on my soul and mind for so long. Thank you. And to anybody that did go to my Patreon out because of this video, I'm very happy. I'm not going to put names on screen, but when I do reach 50,000 subscribers, I am going to say every single person's name that is a subscriber and make up a slanderous, baseless lie about them. So if you want to be here for that, then by all means, subscribe. You don't have to do anything extra. I'm here for you. So, thank you for existing. Thank you for clicking on this video. This has been my passion project. Good day, goodbye, good vibes, goodbye.